It's been a year since Autumn died, and many things have changed. I've grown and I've accepted more of the situation and of what happened, and that there's nothing that I can do to bring her back, and that this is basically the new norm. I still think of her every day, and I still get sad, and I wonder where she is, if she is. Um, it's a question that still goes around my mind, and I don't know. I'm not religious. I have many friends that are religious from many different religions, and they all talk about an afterlife. So, maybe one day we'll be reunited as a family. That'd be amazing. That'd be lovely. But with those thoughts, there comes worry for me. Like if she is in an afterlife, is she safe? Is she in some place and she's unprotected? And that was a big fear for me, and it was something that I wrestled with. Was, well, if she is alone and unprotected, what father wouldn't try to, be with her, to be with our child, to make sure that they are safe and protected. And that was something that I thought about quite deeply. And I comfort myself with the fact that in all these stories of afterlife and stuff like that, in whatever religious text, there's always relatives or ancestors that take care of those that go that die. So I hope that if an afterlife is a case, that she's safe and she's loved, and she's waiting for us to eventually reunite and be a family. But for now, I need to be here. I need to be with my wife, because as much as I was hurt, what she went through, I just I can't fathom how much more hurt she should be. But it's something that I can tangibly hold on to, so it's something that I want to keep with and move forward with. The counselling that I think I mentioned previously in the previous videos, that really helped. It really helped just to have someone not personally involved that I could open up with, and I can just tell my story from start to finish and just kind of let it all out. And it helped lift this weight that I had, that I was holding until we got to Canada, and I had time to try and take care of myself, I guess, after all those months of putting things aside while we finished our contract in China. It's initially hard to tell the story of what happened, and it's fragmented and it's incoherent, and it's really messy, with so many emotions coming up, and you're getting sidetracked and you don't know what's important to say and what's not important to say, or which way everything goes. So one of the things that was good with the counselling was being able to kind of, I guess, repeat the story a few times, and it makes it easier to process what happened. And the more that you process what happened, the more you get to see it from the outside. And everyone's different, and everyone takes it at a different pace. It took my wife a long time, it took Fanny a while to even say that Autumn died without turning into a mess. So I think it's a process that everyone dealing with loss goes through, but it's therapeutic and cathartic. With that telling of the story, it becomes like you can look at it from the outside and reflect on it without so much emotion attached. So it's easier to, I guess, accept. We also go to a support group of families that have dealt with infant loss. And we specifically went to an infant loss support group because it's hard to connect when someone doesn't have a similar story to yourself, because although they can empathize, they can't really understand what it's like, and nor do I ever want anyone to understand what Fanny and I have been through. And one of the things that I came back with from the support group is that I became more grateful, not for what happened, but I heard a lot of stories, and I hear a lot of stories, and I hear some stories and they're horrendous, and I feel like I couldn't get through some of those stories personally. I think, wow, it was awful what happened to me, but to what happened to some of these other families, other parents, my mind can't even go there. But they've said to us when we've told our story that, they couldn't get through what we've been through. So I guess I'm grateful that of everything that's happened, things could have been so much worse. I still have my wife, we're still together, we're still very much in love. I'm grateful that things could have been a lot worse. I'm grateful for just all the love and support we've had from family and friends and people that we hardly even knew at the time. And I'm grateful that I still have my wife and that she's now healthy and that we still have a future. And it's not one that we planned, but it's one that's full of possibilities. So I'm just grateful for what I have, even though it's not what I wanted. A big issue for me that still remains is my need to acknowledge Autumn, that she is real for me and real for the world, because she is one of the most important things in my life, hands down. And to think that she's going to be forgotten or passed over or not talked about is just, it doesn't sit with me, and it chips away. And I think just about anyone that's had a loss, especially someone that's had a child loss, they want to feel that this person was a person and they were part of this world, and that they are remembered and will be remembered in the future. One of the things that's really helped me and Fanny is we've kept a lot of toys, clothes that Fanny's made for Autumn, a lot of stuff that we accumulated that reminds us of her. The photos that we had, we were able to get digitally retouched to, better reflect our memory of Autumn than maybe the more distressing reality of the photos when you have them of a deceased child. But those are the other photos that we have, so we cherish them. And there's lots of stuff you can, there's people that provide services that write your infant's name in trees, on the sand, make it into wreaths of flowers. There's, you know, candles. There's, you know, so many things and so many services that you can use that, you know, keeps your infant's memory alive for you and for other people, and it's a source of comfort, definitely. There's also a Molly bear, where you can get a teddy bear that's made with the same weight as your baby. So we're looking to get in a lot of this stuff eventually, but it's nice to be reminded and to remind the world that she was important. And I watched the movie The First Man the other day about Neil Armstrong going onto the moon. And what I didn't know is that he lost his daughter. She was 4 years old and she died of, it was like a tumor, brain cancer or something like that. And what about Neil's loss is that it was in the 60s. So I don't think it was a time when men were encouraged to acknowledge their emotions and to get help with dealing with grief. It just wasn't talked about, and he didn't talk about it in the movie. And I just can't imagine how hard it must have been for him to navigate that, with this idea that he's having to do it alone. And I know that eventually the marriage that he had fell apart. So one of the reasons that I did videos like this was I hoped that maybe some other grieving dads would watch these videos and see my process and see that it's okay to be broken. He didn't talk about his daughter to anyone after she died, not even his wife, colleagues, no one, per the movie. So there's probably a creative license. But what struck me was the first moment he had some time to himself on the moon. He takes out, he has a trinket, like a bracelet of hers, and he puts that in a crater, and he leaves it on the moon. I think he named the crater Muffy Crater. Is that his nickname for his daughter? I don't think they mentioned that in the movie, but I was reading up about it. For me, what struck me was that the pinnacle of his life, of his achievements, his life goal, the most important moment in his life, and one of the most important moments in human history, and he thinks of her. And I feel that.